Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we would like to explain about issue and challenge on Islamic banking. First of all, I would like to introduce our group members, which is me, Nur Zafina Nazira binti Zakaria.
My name is Nur Aina Nabila binti Dani.
My name is Nur Nabila binti Muhammad Razi.
My name is Nur Shazawani binti Abi Nasir.
Next, I would like to explain about issue occur in Islamic banking. Among the issue that always occur in Islamic banking sector are misunderstanding and lack of standardization of Islamic financial concept. Some people misinterpret the idea of Islamic financial institution and they believe that only Muslims have access to Islamic financial institution, while Sharia law is revered by Islamic financial institution and it does not apply only to Islamic people. According to the survey by Jared and Cunningham 2003, only a few Muslims know the Islamic banking operation, while almost none of the non-Muslims have a good understanding of the Islamic banking operation. It proves that the customer awareness of the Islamic financial sector is unfavorable. Some people find the operational principle hard to differentiate between traditional and Islamic financial institution and consider Islamic banking to be name change without any unique characteristic. They say that the profit rate used by Islamic bank is just a substitute for traditional bank interest rate. Therefore, they argue that Islamic banking operation in Malaysia include interest component. According to Maslahuddin 2007, any extra revenue, including usury and interest, exceed the principal. The first impression that the idea of fixed rate is Islamic banking was made by HAJI and Malik 2006, that halal loan replaced traditional loan. Dusuki and Abdullah 2007 research found that in Malaysia there is extremely awareness of financial industry. Next, I will pass to Aina to explain her part. Thank you.
Thank you, Zafina. Okay, now I will continue with challenge of the issue that exists in Islamic banks. Firstly, the biggest obstacles is that many people consider Islamic financial institutions as something that is still ambiguous. This is because there are various scholars' opinions that have been contradictory. There are 4 standard methodologies used by Islamic banking institutions, which is the first one is ijtihad or interpretation from current sources. Number 2 is ikhtiar or selection. Number 3 is darura or necessity. And the last one is hila or legal artifice. Through the use of these various methods can lead to conflicting opinions on the fiqh rulings. Due to this lack of standardization, Western regulators will face difficulties in understanding Islamic financial institutions' pure nature and are challenging the Islamic financial sector's growth in Western countries. The lack of conformity with Sharia views and the diverse methodological approaches cause Islamic banking institutions to be vague. For instance, deferred payment finance instrument for Islamic banking is usually known as murabahah, but there is also a minority is naming it as al-bay' bitaman ajil. Next challenge is varying management and supervisory requirements. Many Islamic financial institutions actually have their own Sharia boards in operation. Sharia boards of various banking institutions may issue different rulings on related activities, which will create suspicious in the minds of the customers. The minimum requirements of Sharia in each form of the agreement provided by an autonomous entity would go a big step toward ensuring the Sharia compatibility of the contracts and also the practical execution of the contracts. As a consequence of the entry of many Western banks into Islamic banking, this needs has become more serious. Okay, next for the conclusion part, I will pass to Nasha Zawani to present it.
Thank you, Aina. Now I present about conclusion of Islamic banking. In summary, the confusion of the risk profile of Islamic banking indicates that Islamic banks really are not risk-free, but it is the mitigation of these dangers that safeguard Islamic institutions, where conventional banks generate assured return on the deposit. Islamic banks depend primarily on business investment, which requires the prospect of profit and losses. Islamic finance experience wealth risk, market risk, the risk of non-compliance with Sharia, greater likelihood of return risk, greater fiduciary risk, and higher potential consequences. In Islamic banking, the credit trade is low. Deposit collecting is concentrated on the approaches of PLS, profit and loser sharing. This explains the damage are incurred by the depositors and the bank. The margin of losers seem to be, however, extremely low. The loans are accumulated in a pool and allocated in multiple works. Sum it up, diversifications, the likelihood from failure in total is smaller, so the chance of getting money lost for the depositor is smaller too. Strength of Islamic banking is the concentration of Islamic finance on competitiveness and sharing of risk. Cash does not create cash in Islam. In order to achieve revenue, one will have to indulge in the stages of innovation or taking risks. This is commonly accomplished by the concept of Islamic deal or benefit loss sharing. Less doubt surrounds Islamic banking. In essence, Garar Katir, which means excessive lack of certainty, and Maisir, which means gambling operations, are banned. Short selling, classified as having to sell an item at a premium in the anticipation of acquiring it in the near, is illegal under Islamic banking. When values decline, it comprises banning short selling, which focuses on the sale of type that is not the possession of the seller. Procedures at riba are also outlawed. It enables all action related on future and options unethical since it entails the trading of interest. Islamic finance indeed raises few witness. Damage for depositors is one of these cases. Increased liabilities to depositors obviously outweighed by lowering the likelihood of financial distress. The model of loss and profit sharing assumes the involvement of depositors will oscillate. If the bank may be supervised by the depositors, their spectrum of oversight is quite constrained to casting a vote against the administration or to restoring the investment. That the increased price is the vulnerability of Islamic banking. Islamic banking is too complex and costly, though its traditional model is much more effective. More than a single agreement is expected by each Islamic trade, which is insanely high. Finally, the lack of standardization of Sharia norms. Unreliable understanding and execution of Sharia laws is added via the creation of numerous Sharia boards and diverse Sharia beliefs. With one jurisdiction such as this and resell and fully void in others, a deal will be valid. The shortage of rising standard Sharia scholars is a huge issue in Islamic banking. Okay, that's all from me for about the conclusion of Islamic banking. Next, I will pass to Nabila to present about the recommendation of Islamic banking.
We proceed with recommendation. First is there is a need to increase the number of operators and Islamic banking goods as well as facilities. For example, the government should approve more license for Islamic banking and institutions, as it can make it easier for investors and the public to access the information about Islamic banking products. Next is the quality of service delivery must also be upgraded, flowing from the need to align with Sharia requirement in implementation. So it is important to work more on a combination of providing good service while dealing with Sharia requirement. They also need to provide the right option for innovative Islamic banking product with a special professional approach that seems reliable and timely. Last but not least, Islamic banks need to look beyond the horizon and use the challenge as a basis for reimagining their role in the developing reality that awaits them. We hope that Islamic banking would make some effort to educate people in general, not only about their goods and services, but also about the implementation of Islamic values in the banking practice of their customer. I think that's all from us. Thank you.